I have hope that the beauty of delivery will come back, and I think that there's something going on right now where people are so caught up in winning arguments and being correct and being right all the time that they're kind of missing that softness and that warmth that we see Jesus embodying. And there was something super inviting about the way that he delivered his messaging, and that's something that I want to see return. There should be this sweet sort of fragrance that's left behind with your words. And it reminds me a lot of cashmere, because cashmere is my favorite fragrance note. And I just find that there's so many similarities. It's soft, it's warm, it lasts, it's memorable. And I think that if conversations felt more like cashmere, I feel like we'd be better off. And so, yeah, I think that's the theory that I have. The return of cashmere conversations, the Cashmere Theory. Tell the truth, was the intro too deep? We don't know. Right now I'm overthinking it. But hopefully you guys see the vision. I was really trying to go for like an old school interview vibe, so I'm hoping it landed. I don't know, but anyways, what's up you guys? Cashmere Theory episode 1. If you can't tell, I'm overly nervous. I'm so nervous for this, and I don't know why, but I think it's just because this is a passion project I have wanted to launch for so long, and I just kept making excuses. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. There honestly is so much going on, but I really wanted to start this series because, one, obedience. And obedience is very important, and I think we'll have an episode all about that because it's like one of my pillars and I care a lot about obedience, and so does the Lord, okay? And also, yeah, there's just a lot going on. I was honestly just making excuses and avoiding it. I think, you know, I got engaged, I'm wedding planning, I have to pack up my house and move soon. Don't know how long this setup is gonna be, this setup, but again, when the Lord says move, you move. So that's why we're here. What are we gonna be talking about on Cashmere Theory? It's pretty much going to be everything. All topics are on the table. Faith, sisterhood, I'm gonna be getting married, so maybe I'll share a little bit about that. Waiting until marriage, purity, 25-year-old virgin. Yeah, we're gonna be getting into it because nothing's off the table. Like, I just feel like, why not? Why can't we talk about it? Why not? And I also, something else that really moved me to start the series is like the rise of debates and like Christian and Muslim and Jewish and all the atheist debates and stuff. I don't know if you guys watch those type of YouTube videos, but I love them. And I just find that more often than not, I'm irritated. Like, I'm getting irritated. I feel like people, not all people, some people go up there and do an amazing job, but there are the handful of people that genuinely go up there and they don't represent Christ well. And I find myself getting so frustrated because in my mind, me and God are like this. So it's like, if I feel like he's not represented well or his reputation is being like dragged, then I feel like I got something to say. And so I was talking to my fiance about it, and he's like, you should bring back your Kingdom Over Coffee. And if you guys remember, I used to have a series on my channel, it's still up, called Kingdom Over Coffee, and I would just go and I'd have coffee and I'd talk about Jesus stuff. And I feel like this is almost similar. Like, it is a similar thing. Clearly I do love talking about Jesus, but I don't want this to be like a super preachy space. I want this to feel super like casual and fun and girl chat. And in my brain, I'm envisioning the episode of Cheetah Girls when they're all up like eating Chinese food in the middle of the night, just girl talking. That's what I'm imagining. Kingdom Over Coffee was close, and for that time that was my vibe, and I loved doing it, and I think it was super special. But in this season of my life, my style is changing, my aesthetic is changing. I'm about to be a wife. I feel so much more feminine and grown, and I want to talk about more stuff. And it's like, how do I make a space that still feels like Jesus is the center without being like preachy? You know what I'm saying? I don't like that. And that doesn't come like from me naturally. Like, I don't find myself feeling called to preach or to do Bible studies online. Like, no, like, that's my private time, and I think everyone should have intimate time with Jesus. But this is really just a space for the girls to talk about the girly stuff that people don't want to talk about. You know, I feel like this season God is showing me so much, and I feel the most feminine that I ever have before. I feel so just like, I don't know, free from the shackles of independent woman. And don't get me wrong, being an independent woman, there's a time, place, and season for that. However, I am not in that season. I am very much building with my fiance right now, and I feel so girly. Like, I feel so girly, transparently. Moving right along, I posted on my Instagram what are some things that you guys would want me to talk about for like the first episode, or some things that you would love to like hear me cover. A lot of y'all want to hear about life as a 25-year-old virgin and how my purity journey has been in my walk with Christ, and kind of temptation and how that's looked in my relationship and things like that. And I want to dedicate an entire episode for that. And I just feel like that's a little bit too deep to just dive right into episode 1. Like, come on, girl, let's ease our way into it. So like I said, on my Instagram, I've been kind of posting about what we're going to talk about on here. And so you guys were dropping topics and things. And I was blown away by how many big sisters I have in the chat. That is so crazy. And I love that. I'm a big sister. I love big sisters. We are so special. The world would not move without us, truly. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. There was this TikTok about how hard it is for big sisters to navigate consideration, and how it's like a really big downfall in a lot of relationships. And so I thought that was a really good topic to briefly talk about, because one, I want this episode to be very bite-sized and quick, because that's what all the episodes should really be given. Like, nobody's trying to sit here and talk for an hour. One day maybe we will, but right now, absolutely not. I feel like that would be such a good thing to talk about, because I have had my fair share of problems with consideration and not being considered, desiring to be considered, and what that looks like in a relationship, how much that's genuinely wounded me in friendships, and also family dynamics. Consideration can be tough. So I wanted to talk about that and kind of open up the floor, and especially the comments. Utilize those, please. But yeah, I find that consideration is something that I need. Like, I need it. Non-negotiable, inconsiderate people are genuinely some of the most, what do I want to say here? Inconsiderate people are some of the worst. Inconsiderate people are some of the worst, ugliest. Genuinely make me. What I mean by that is, inconsiderate people genuinely need to go to therapy and figure out how to be more helpful citizens in society, because I'm so frustrated when people don't know how to consider others. When you don't take 2 seconds to sit back and be like, dang, how could this make her feel? What would she think if she knew what I was doing right now? What would she think if I didn't come to her first with this? What would she think if she found out this info from somebody else that wasn't me? What would, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, you asking people to do too many extra steps. Like, you're asking people way too much. They don't care. They're inconsiderate. They don't want to put you first. They don't want to give you the time of day. They don't want to like have you take up or occupy any space in their mind. It's a very hard place to be in. And I feel like big sisters struggle with this concept so much, because from little, I feel like we're all like, it's engraved in us to be so considerate, to make sure everyone's being thought of, no one's being excluded, considering how everyone feels in the room, making sure that everybody else comes first before you're good. And I think that that's like a beautiful thing. And I wouldn't trade being like that for the world. Does it come with like problems? Well, yes. But also, like, I love that. I love being a considerate person. I've found as I'm getting older, you have to kind of not be so considerate, to the point where now I'm wedding planning and I'm genuinely considering each and every person so much that it's like, girl, you got to remember what you want, what will make you happy. And I think that's something we got to talk about. Like, let's talk about it. How do we get help? Like, should there be a group chat? Is there a hotline for the big sisters? Like, we're confused. I don't know what's going on. It's definitely something I have not mastered. It's something I'm definitely still walking out. And I think that being a big sister is a lifelong journey of learning. Like, you never stop learning, especially when it comes to being in a relationship and knowing that you need someone to consider you. And I've been in my relationship for now almost 6 years, and he's incredible. Oh my goodness, I cannot wait to marry that man. But anyways, reeling it in. He's so considerate, and he knew that I needed that, you know, and I didn't have to really ask him for it. There have been times where I need to remind him, hey, this is how I would have done things, or this is how I would have loved for you to handle that. And then once you really, like, I got a good one. So once I tell him one time, it's like done, and I don't have to really say it again. When finding someone to be in a relationship with, I find, now, this could be completely wrong. Again, this is just theories. And I just want to preface, disclaimer, I just be saying whatever. Do not fact check me. I I really just be saying whatever, but my theory is that if you are a big sister, I find that you possibly, potentially, maybe might have more luck with someone who also has younger siblings. Like a youngest child with an oldest sister, praying for you. That's all I'm gonna say. Like praying for you, because it's like the youngest sibling in my mind, and again, this is just a theory, please do not fact check me, but the youngest sibling in my mind in most situations has always been taken care of, not necessarily by a parent or guardian, but like somebody has taken care of the youngest sibling. Not if you're an only child, then obviously you're fending for yourself, but I mean, like, if you have siblings and you find that you're the youngest, odds are, in most situations, in my brain, you're taken care of, and somebody's taking care of you, somebody's looking after you, somebody's got your back, which is a beautiful thing. But when you're the oldest sister, who's doing that for you? And if you're with someone who's used to being the youngest and used to being taken care of, it might not come as natural. It can still be taught, it can still be learned. Obviously, there's probably very successful marriages and couples and relationships that are built this way, but I just think that it might not be as natural for someone to consider you, to have your back, to take care of you if you haven't been kind of brought up that way. And don't get me wrong, like I said, you can learn, you can grow, you can be taught, all these things. So that's just the way that I would do it there. If you're kind of in dating season, I would ask, like, are you a youngest child? And just take those things in consideration. Not to block your blessing or cut them off or be like, no, we can't be together. But I think it's just to give you insight on the dynamics, because it really does matter. Siblings, the dynamic, the growing up, who was in charge of what, whose role was what, who, like, that does really matter. And I find it having a huge impact on my relationship now, because my fiance Elijah, he does have a little brother and he also has an older sister. So it's like, he was not the youngest, he's the oldest son, man of the house type of thing. And so I feel like it comes really natural for him to be protective, to have the family's back. And so yeah, I found that really works out for us. And I think that it made it a lot easier, made conversations flow quicker from jump, instead of us having a lot of things that we disagree with off rip. Like I said, you can do it, but praying for you. If you know for a fact that in a lot of situations you find yourself being like, man, why doesn't it feel like anybody's thinking about me? And I feel like that's something I struggle with, and I ask myself so many times. It's like, guys, I've spent my whole life thinking of you all. Why is nobody considering how I'm made to feel? Why is nobody considering how this can affect me? That's a scary, lonely place. And I think that is where the Lord comes in a lot of the time, because he is a protector. He is a provider. That's where my relationship with God really tightened, I would say, because I've always known God was real. If you guys have watched other episodes, I was baptized when I was 14, and I've always known the Lord. I grew up in a family where God was always being talked about, prayed, like he was very, very prominent in my household. And so there was never a time, and I praise God for this, but there was never a time where I doubted he was there. There was never a time where I didn't know he was out there. Like, I always knew he was out there. It doesn't mean I've been perfect. Like, no, I've made plenty of mistakes, but I have always known he's been there. And so in some of my toughest times where I have felt isolated, I've known where to go and who to go to. And so I would say, being a big sister, you do have to learn who your community is and who are the people that you can fall back on, and who are the people, if you look in your life right now, who do consider you and who have considered you and who remembers you and thinks about you, and who's, letting you know that you were on their heart, instead of you always doing that. And that's a really important friendship to have. And I think I have some of the most amazing friends in my life. And as I'm wedding planning right now, obviously I have my bridesmaids and everything, and everybody's been on calls and talking to each other. And it's such a beautiful thing to see people coming together to do something for you that's going to make you happy, and them asking questions and wanting to participate and wanting to know how they can help. And it's just a beautiful thing. And so there are people who will consider you. If you're around a bunch of people who are inconsiderate, figure out how to get out of that, because a lot of times, and I'm not with the cutoff culture, don't just cut people off for no reason. But if you are finding that you constantly keep having to tell someone hey, it never feels like you're thinking about me, let them know that and see if they move different. If they don't, you got to figure something out. And it doesn't mean you have to like get out of the complete situation, but it does mean that you have to stop relying on them for that feeling, because it's not going to happen. There are people who are just inconsiderate. Like, that is a real reality for people. Like, that is the reality. There are mean, cruel, inconsiderate people that genuinely only think about themselves and are narcissistic. Like, truly, the character and the personality is out there. Am I saying that that's all the people around you? No. Sometimes all you got to do is speak up and let people know, like, hey, when you did that, it didn't feel like you thought about me. It didn't feel like you were considering my feelings. And that's something that means a lot to me. It's something that is a non-negotiable for me. I need to know that you thought about it. Now, if you thought about it, you still wanted to wild out, then that's crazy. But at least let me know that you considered me. And that's something that goes a long way for a big sister that I've noticed and I'm learning. And I'm also trying to figure out how to not expect that so much. You know what I mean? Not necessarily lowering the standard for everybody, because you should set standards for yourself. And I'm a very big proponent on that. So we'll have other episodes about standards and morals and things like that. But, you know, for the most part, people will disappoint you. And I was a big, like, optimistic person and always seeing the best in people and always seeing the potential in people. And I think that that's a beautiful thing. And I don't think the world should shut all of it down. But I do find that you can be very disappointed a lot of the time and find yourself sad a lot. And that's not what God wants from us. Like, we are called to guard our hearts and to be wise. And I think that if you find that you're surrounded by inconsiderate people often, to navigate harder conversations to see if that's somebody you want to continue to be around so often or so frequently. And like I said, this is just episode 1. We'll get into all this stuff, but I've had friendships where I'm like, girl, did you even consider how this would make me feel at all? Because if you did, I don't think you would have did it. I don't think you would have did it this way. Like, I really don't think you would have did it this way. And sometimes the answer is, yeah, I thought about it and I still did do it. And then that's when you're dealing with something a little bit more wicked. But I also think there's times when you let someone know that they weren't thinking of you and they genuinely feel awful, and they do course correct and they don't do it again. At least that way, at least to that degree. Yeah, consideration is a big deal. I think that talking about it is something that people need to do more. Have the conversations and let people know that they need to be more considerate if they want to keep having you around. If you want to keep having a friendship with me, you got to start considering me more. If you want this relationship to bloom into something beautiful, you got to start considering me more. If you want to keep having me show up for you the way that I do, you have to be more considerate. And I think how you find that about yourself is genuinely just looking at yourself and being like, is this a way that you feel often? And I know that about myself. I know that I leave situations or conversations, arguments, disagreements, and I'm like, you were not thinking about me. There's no way you were thinking about me. If you know me, you wouldn't have done that. If you took into consideration the type of person I am and how hurt I would have been by what you did, you wouldn't have did it. That's something that you have to sit with and know about yourself. And if that's something that a person continues to do, then just navigating that and having a real conversation and being like, hey, what you did was really messed up and you were not considering me, and I don't move like that. I don't move like you move. And it's happened more than once. I think consideration is a really good place to start on this channel because Jesus was so considerate, and in his delivery when he was talking to sinners, to children, to grown men, to prostitutes, to drunk people, like when he was communicating with any of these people, he was considering them. One, he knew their heart, so he could speak to them in a way that he knew would be receptive by the person. And I think that that's so important. We can't skip past, even what I was saying in the intro, you can't skip past how things were said because it matters. And I also want to make sure that I say, if you find that you're having trouble having people consider you, be mindful and make sure that you're being just as considerate as you're asking other people to be. Now, if you're a big sister, I'm pretty sure you're already being considerate. But in the off chance that you're not, especially if you're wounded or bitter or upset that people are not considering you, make sure that you're taking the time to check yourself, clock yourself, and be like, wait a minute, I actually didn't even give you 2 seconds of a thought before I did that. And it's rare because I do feel like I consider people to a really unhealthy degree, to the point where I'm like people pleasing and making sure every single person's happy. So I don't necessarily know, but it's also very important to have people around you that will check you, which I don't think nobody's really checked me like, Sky, you really haven't been considered, but maybe I'm just forgetting conveniently. But anywho, I hope you guys enjoyed this little first episode. I know it was really short and sweet. But yeah, that's kind of it for episode 1. I just wanted it to be something light, something bite-sized. Talk about something I think is relatable. I'd love to have a conversation in the comments and let me know some of the stuff that you guys have gone through. Situations where you felt like you weren't considered. There's so many oh my gosh, I'm literally glitching. That's how many just came to my mind. So many times where I have not felt considered by the people that are so close to me, the closest to me. It's an epidemic. Inconsiderate people are some of the most difficult people to figure out life with. It's something that needs corrected and talked about. So hopefully you guys are into this series, are into this channel. Hopefully you guys like Cashmere Theory. I'm going to keep the episodes as consistent as I can. I'm not going to commit to anything because like I said, I am wedding planning. There's a lot going on. Pray for your girl because we get married in February. It's out of the country, girl. You lying. What is it called? Oh, it's just destination. It's a destination. It's out of the state. It's across the country is what I was going to say. The wedding is across the country. And so there's just a lot of moving parts right now, but I wanted to be obedient. I'm very excited for this little series. I'm super passionate about it. Hopefully with this vibe and the tone and like the humor, you guys are kind of getting that like I don't take life that serious. I mean, I do, but like not that serious. Like, girl, we not about to be screaming at each other and like, no. That's something that I really have an issue with, especially in the Christian community and watching, like I was saying, like debates. We are coming off so judgmental and hypocritical and nasty and cruel and ugly. It's really, really repelling, and I don't think it's representing Christ the best. Anyways, with that being said, I'm going to hurry up and cut this here because I don't want to miss the launch date. I told you guys I'm going to launch on June 8th, so I need to make sure that this is short and sweet and I can mix it in with my editing schedule because y'all know I be editing nonstop for these girls, these beautiful, amazing, powerful, influential women. And I love my job, truly. But I do have to make sure I keep these episodes short because I'm not trying to kill myself. Am I about to say that? Girl, I'm not making no money on this. Like, I could say whatever I want. But anyways, I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for watching this. I hope that you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think. Let me also know any topics you guys want me to cover. I'm also curious if anybody is into like aesthetics and styles and that kind of thing. What vibe are you guys getting from this? From the intro, from the little like, the intro, but then also the actual intro that I made with the little name and all that. Like, what are you guys getting? This top, the plants, the little candle, like what are you guys getting? There's like this little wiry candle holder that has grapes on it. I'm very curious what the aesthetic or vibe you guys get from this. This is the first episode. I'm hoping that I did a good job with the vision, but I want to know what you guys are getting. Also, I don't know if this is going to be cringe, but because I edit so many YouTube videos and all the girls are like, and this is what I'm wearing, this is from me, I'm gonna do it, even though I'm sure y'all don't care. This top is from Depop, but it's a halter top and it goes all the way down. It's not crop. I hate crop tops so much, like I really do. So I love like a full length 2000s like halter top. So that's it for episode 1. If you made it this far, please leave a comment. Let me know what you guys thought, if you liked it, if you hated it, if you want it to end right now. I will see you guys in the next episode. I'm thinking episode 2 is going to be about purity, waiting till marriage, and all the juicy stuff, because why not? I feel like I need to come up with a little outro to like end all of these with. Like, what do I know? It's just a theory. Don't take my word for it. It's just a theory. But I guess that's just a theory. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. Have you guys seen that before? If you can come up with a cute little tagline or outro for this series, let me know, because I'm sitting here and I'm stuck. But I love you guys. That's the end of the video, and I will talk to you guys in the next one.